It is 3 a.m., you're lying in bed, you are almost asleep. And then it happens, a memory from nowhere, uninvited, unwanted, something you did in 2007, something you said at a party in college, something so small and so meaningless that no one else on the planet remembers it happened, but you remember, and now you are wide awake. Your face is hot, your stomach has dropped, you are physically squirming under the blanket. You might have made a sound, a groan, a whispered curse. You might have actually covered your face with your hands, even though you are alone in a dark room and no one can see you. The memory is playing in your head like a film you cannot pause. You see yourself doing the thing, saying the thing, being the thing, and you want to die, not literally, but something in you wants to stop existing for a few seconds just to escape the feeling. This will last anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Then it will fade. You will calm down. You will tell yourself it was nothing. Nobody remembers. It does not matter. And eventually you will fall asleep until the next time. If you have experienced this, and you have, everyone has, then you already know what I'm talking about. But here is what you do not know. Why? Why does this happen? Why do these memories attack you? Why at night? Why can you not stop them? And why, no matter how many years pass, do they never seem to lose their power? I have spent a lot of time thinking about this, and what I found disturbed me, because the answer is not simple. The answer reaches into the deepest parts of how your brain works, how evolution shaped you, and what it really means to be a social creature. And when you understand it, you will see yourself differently. You will understand something about your own psychology that most people never consciously realize. But I warn you, the answer is not comforting. The cringe does not stop because it is not supposed to stop. Your brain is doing this to you on purpose. And there is a very good reason. Let me start with what cringe actually is. Because we use the word casually, but we rarely think about what is happening physically when we cringe. Cringe is not just discomfort. It is a full body response. Your sympathetic nervous system activates. Your heart rate increases. Blood rushes to your face. Your stomach contracts. Your muscles tense. You might physically recoil. You might close your eyes or cover your face or make a noise. This is not a thought. This is a physiological reaction. Your body is responding to the memory as if the event is happening right now, as if the embarrassment is real and present and immediate. But it is not. The event happened years ago, maybe decades ago. The people involved may have forgotten. Some of them may be dead. The context no longer exists. The version of you who did the embarrassing thing no longer exists. And yet your body is reacting as if you are standing there right now in the moment, experiencing the humiliation fresh. Why? Why would your brain torture you with something that is over, something that cannot hurt you anymore, something that exists only in your memory? Here is the first piece of the answer, and it is disturbing. Your brain cannot tell the difference. When you remember something vividly, especially something emotional, your brain activates many of the same regions that were active during the original experience. This is called neural reactivation. The memory is not a recording that plays on a screen somewhere in your head. The memory is a recreation, a simulation. Your brain literally reconstructs the experience, and in doing so, it recreates the emotional state. When you remember the embarrassing moment, your brain generates the embarrassment again, not a faded copy, not a distant echo, the actual emotion, freshly produced, as intense as the original, sometimes more intense. This is why cringe feels so real, because to your brain, It is real. You are not remembering the embarrassment. You are experiencing it again. Your brain has pulled you back into that moment and forced you to live through it one more time. But that still does not explain why. Why would your brain do this? What possible purpose could it serve? This is where it gets interesting, because the answer has to do with something that happened long before you were born, long before humans existed. It has to do with what you are at the most fundamental level. You are a social animal, not by choice, not as a lifestyle, by biology. Your survival has always depended on being part of a group. For most of human history, being rejected by your tribe meant death. You could not survive alone. You needed others for protection, for food, for shelter, for reproduction, for everything. And because of this, your brain evolved to treat social threats the same way it treats physical threats. When you see a snake, your amygdala fires, your heart races, your body prepares to fight or flee. This is the fear response. It exists because your ancestors who feared snakes survived, and your ancestors who did not fear snakes died. But here is what most people do not realize. The same system, the exact same neural machinery, activates when you face social rejection, when someone laughs at you, when you say something stupid, when you fail in front of others, when you violate a social norm. Your brain treats embarrassment as a survival threat, not because it is silly, not because your brain is broken, because for most of human history, social embarrassment was a survival threat. Being humiliated meant losing status. Losing status meant being pushed to the edge of the group. Being pushed to the edge meant getting less food, less protection, less access to mates. Severe enough humiliation meant exile, and exile meant death. Your ancestors who felt intense embarrassment after social failures were more motivated to fix their behavior, repair their reputation, and avoid making the same mistake again. They survived, they reproduced, and they passed that sensitivity down to you. The cringe you feel at 3 a.m. is an ancient alarm system. It exists because the humans who cringed lived, and the humans who did not cringe died. But that still does not explain the 3 a.m. part. Why at night? Why when you are trying to sleep? Why not during the day when you could actually do something about it? This is the part that made me realize how little control we actually have over our own minds. During the day, your brain is busy. It is processing the present. It is handling tasks, conversations, problems, decisions. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus and executive function, is working hard. It is keeping you on track. It is suppressing distractions. It is managing the constant flood of thoughts and memories that would otherwise overwhelm you. Think of your prefrontal cortex as a security guard. During the day, the guard is on duty. It stands at the door of your consciousness and decides what gets in. Relevant thoughts? Come in. Useful memories? Welcome. Random, embarrassing moment from 2003? Not today. Get back in line. But at night, the guard goes home. When you are tired, when you are lying in the dark with nothing to focus on, your prefrontal cortex starts shutting down. It is preparing for sleep. Its grip on your thoughts loosens. The filter weakens. And suddenly, all those memories that were waiting in line, the ones the guard kept pushing back, they see their chance. They rush the door. This is why unwanted thoughts attack at night. Not because night is special, but because your defenses are down. The part of your brain that usually keeps these memories suppressed is offline, and the memories have been waiting. But here is what is really disturbing. Those memories were not just waiting passively. They were being processed all day, every day. Your brain is working on unresolved emotional content in the background. It is trying to make sense of things, trying to integrate experiences, trying to learn lessons. And embarrassing memories are a special category. They are unresolved by nature. You cannot go back and fix them. You cannot unsay the thing you said. You cannot undo the humiliation. The situation is frozen in time, permanently incomplete. Your brain hates incomplete things. There is a psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect. It states that incomplete tasks are remembered better than completed ones. Your brain holds on to unfinished business. It keeps bringing it back to your attention, hoping you will resolve it. But you cannot resolve an embarrassing memory. It is done. It happened. There is no fixing it. So your brain just keeps bringing it up again and again, year after year, hoping that this time somehow you will find a way to make it complete. You will not, and your brain will not stop trying. Now let me tell you something that made me uncomfortable when I first understood it. Not all embarrassing memories haunt you equally. Some fade quickly. Some stick for decades. And the difference has nothing to do with how embarrassing the event actually was. The difference has to do with something much deeper, something about your identity. The memories that haunt you most are the ones that threatened your self-image. Think about the cringe memories that attack you most often. Really think about them. What do they have in common? I will tell you what they have in common. They are moments when you were not the person you want to believe you are. They are moments when you were awkward, but you believe you are smooth. When you were cowardly, but you believe you are brave. When you were cruel, but you believe you are kind. When you were stupid, but you believe you are intelligent. The cringe is not about the event. The cringe is about the contradiction. Your brain maintains a story about who you are. This story is called your self-concept. It is the narrative you tell yourself about yourself. And you need this narrative. It gives you continuity. It gives you meaning. It gives you a sense of being a coherent person moving through time. But sometimes reality violates the narrative. Sometimes you do something that does not fit the story. And when that happens, your brain has a problem. It cannot simply ignore the contradiction. The memory exists. The thing happened, but it does not match who you believe you are. So your brain keeps returning to it, examining it, trying to make it fit, trying to find an interpretation that does not threaten the narrative, trying to resolve the impossible contradiction between what you did and who you think you are. This is why small embarrassments sometimes haunt you more than big ones. A big embarrassment might be explainable. I was drunk. I was young. The situation was unusual. Your brain can file it away as an exception. But a small embarrassment that reveals something true about you, something that suggests maybe you really are awkward, maybe you really are not as clever as you think, that is a threat to your identity. And threats to identity do not go away. They visit you at 3 a.m. for the rest of your life. Let me make this worse, because there is another layer here, one that I almost did not want to talk about because it is so uncomfortable. The memories that cringe you most are not random, and they are not just about identity contradiction. They are specifically about moments when you were seen. Not seen physically, seen psychologically. Moments when other people glimpsed something about you that you did not want them to see. Moments when your mask slipped, when your performance failed, when the gap between who you pretend to be and who you actually are became visible to others. This is the core of the cringe. It is not about what you did. It is about being witnessed doing it. Think about it. If you did something embarrassing alone with absolute certainty that no one would ever know, would it haunt you? Maybe a little, but not like the memories that actually haunt you. The ones that attack at 3 a.m. are almost always moments when someone else was watching. Because the cringe is not really about the past, it is about the present. It is about the fact that somewhere in the world, in someone else's brain, there is a memory of you at your worst, a version of you that you cannot control, cannot edit, cannot delete, a version that lives in another person's mind and might be recalled at any moment. This is what your brain cannot let go of. And this is where it gets existential, because I need to tell you something about those other people, the witnesses, the ones whose memories of your worst moments keep you awake. They do not remember, almost never, almost universally, the moment that has been eating you alive for 15 years. The person who witnessed it has not thought about it once since it happened, maybe not even once. It is gone from their mind completely. It never mattered to them. It was not about them. They were not the one who failed. They watched for a second, maybe felt a flicker of secondhand embarrassment, and then they moved on with their lives. You have been torturing yourself over a memory that exists only in your head. But knowing this does not help, does it? I can tell you right now that no one remembers. You can believe me completely. You can know with absolute certainty that the witnesses have forgotten. And tonight at 3 a.m., the memory will still come. The cringe will still hit. Your face will still burn in the dark. Why? Why does knowing not fix it? Because the cringe is not logical. It does not respond to evidence. It does not care about probability or reason. The cringe comes from a part of your brain that is older than language, older than logic, a part that does not understand that times have changed, that exile is no longer death, that embarrassment is no longer dangerous. Your rational mind knows that no one cares about what you said at that party 12 years ago. But the ancient alarm system does not know. It cannot know. It was built millions of years ago for a world that no longer exists. And it is still running, still scanning for social threats, still punishing you for failures that do not matter anymore. You are being haunted by a ghost that does not know it is dead. Now let me tell you something I have never told anyone, because I think it matters. I think it might be the only thing that actually helps. I cringe too. At 3 a.m., at 2 p.m., in the middle of conversations, while reading, while eating. The memories come for me like they come for everyone. I have moments from 40 years ago that still make me physically recoil. Stupid things I said, awkward things I did, moments when I tried to be clever and was not, moments when I tried to be smooth and stumbled, moments when I was wrong and everyone saw. And I am supposed to be smart. I am supposed to have figured things out. I have spent my entire life studying how the universe works, how particles behave, how nature reveals its secrets. But I have never figured out how to stop the 3 a.m. memories. I have never found a switch to turn them off. I have never discovered a trick that makes them go away, because there is no trick, there is no switch. The cringe is part of being human. It is built into the architecture. It is the price of being a social animal with a memory and a self-concept and an awareness of how others see you. But here is what I have learned, and this is what I want to leave you with. The cringe is not your enemy. It feels like torture. It feels like your brain is attacking you, but it is not. The cringe is proof that you have grown. Think about why those old memories hurt. They hurt because you are different now. The person who did that embarrassing thing is not the person lying in bed cringing about it. You have changed. You have learned. You have become someone who would not make that mistake anymore. Someone who knows better. Someone who cringes because they can see clearly and painfully how far they have come from who they used to be. If you had not grown, the memory would not hurt. You would watch it and feel nothing. You would think, yes, that is something I would do. That is who I am. No contradiction, no cringe. The cringe exists because there is a gap between who you were and who you are now. And that gap is called growth. Every memory that haunts you is evidence that you are not the same person who made the mistake. Every cringe is proof of progress. Every 3 a.m. torture session is your brain acknowledging painfully that you have become someone better. It does not feel like a gift, I know. It feels like punishment, but it is the same thing. The pain and the progress are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. I want to tell you one more thing, and this is the part that took me years to understand. The cringe will never stop completely, but it can change. It can soften, not through logic or suppression or trying to convince yourself that it does not matter, but through something simpler, acceptance. Not accepting the embarrassing thing you did. That is not the point. Accepting that you are the kind of creature who does embarrassing things sometimes. Accepting that you are flawed, that you have always been flawed, that you will always be flawed, that every human who has ever lived has done stupid, awkward, embarrassing things that visited them in the dark years later. The cringe attacks hardest when you believe you should be perfect, when your self-concept has no room for failure, when every embarrassing memory is a violation of who you think you are. But if you accept that you are imperfect, if you build that into your identity, if you make peace with the fact that you were sometimes a fool and will sometimes be a fool again, the cringe loses some of its power, not all of it, but some. The memories still come, but they do not burn as hot, they do not last as long. They become less an attack and more a visit, less a punishment and more a reminder that you are human, that you are flawed, that you have survived every embarrassing moment so far and will survive the ones still coming. Tonight around 3 a.m. a memory will come. You will cringe. Your face will heat up. Your stomach will drop. You will want to disappear. And when that happens, I want you to remember this. The cringe means you have grown. The pain is the proof. You are not the person who made that mistake anymore. And the only reason it hurts is because you have become someone better. That is not nothing. That is everything. Now go to sleep if you can.